We're heading via Zoom to Queensland, to far north Queensland, to Cairns, to catch up with the CEO of Workways Australia. His name is Kieren Kearney. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about something that you guys have been very much involved with, and that's been the recovery program, the Mallacoota bushfire recovery program. Tell us about the program. I thought tremendous initiative, but what has been the secret to getting so much done in the space that you've been provided over the last 8-9 months now?
Sure. We deliver what was originally the Drought Employment Program, which was expanded to cover bushfire recovery, funded through the state government and the East Gippsland Catchment Management Authority. And the program essentially is providing meaningful employment to local community members to both undertake bushland regeneration, environmental recovery, and some minor capital works around the place. But so
meaningful work for locals. So mental health issues that we saw sprout up across Australia over the last year, by getting them involved, by getting them to do this sort of work, I'm sure you're seeing some very positive results and a new confidence emerging in the community.
Absolutely. It's been amazing to see the transformation in some of the people that we've had on our local crews. We've got a couple of young people by the name of Chelsea and Georgia who really struggled with the transition or the changes after the bushfire. Obviously, they were deeply impacted being local community members, but by providing them some really meaningful employment and working on the environmental recovery, it sparked a passion for them in environmental services, and both of them are now looking at further education in that industry.
Well, that's exciting in itself. You're giving two young people an opportunity for a new direction in their lives, something that they can get their hands dirty with, and the fact that they're locals must be a wonderful message to the rest of the community that, hey, yes, we're outsiders, but we're here to do something meaningful for everyone. And yes, you're all included.
Absolutely. It has been really positive. The community expressed their gratitude, and we've really appreciated the way that we were welcomed to support that recovery process.
Kieren, what have been the biggest challenges to getting this stuff done? Has the tyranny of distance, there are only so many ways to get into Mallacoota and get out of Mallacoota. Has that been a problem in itself? The logistics, the sheer logistics?
It did present some initial issues in getting access to the community. Obviously, post-bushfire, we were really keen to be involved in that recovery process, but access to Mallacoota was challenging in that environment. And then, unfortunately, the tyranny of COVID-19 struck, and so lockdown also impeded that. Fortunately, we'd already established some connections in the local community, and so by involving them, we were able to be far more proactive.
Tell me, the double whammy that you just spoke of, how difficult did it make it for you guys?
COVID presented a lot of challenges over the last year, not only in East Gippsland. We obviously have services up the east coast as well. We, in March, had to close all our offices. We support about 10,000 Australians in helping them try to find employment. And so all of a sudden, when we operate retail shopfronts to help people, we've got staff working from home, trying to contact clients over the phone, using medium like Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So it presented a lot of challenges initially, but we also found some really positive stories out of it. And it internally for our organisation really helped us to get reconnected as an organisation across such a large geographical span.
Tell me, how big is the team?
So we've got it's just short of 350 staff at Workways. So, as I said, spreading from Cairns right down to, we've got a site in Glenroy in Melbourne, so right up and down the east coast.
What are you doing at the moment in Cairns? What's the biggest commitment you've got there? That's they call that the tropic wonderland of Australia. Have you grasped how magical and how different Cairns is?
Oh, far North Queensland's a place unto itself at times, as you'd know. We deliver 2 federal government employment programs up here. We deliver the Job Active contract and the Department of Social Services Disability Employment Services. So we operate in Cairns in the city. We have sites in Tully and Innisfail as well.
And do you have markers as to how well you're progressing with the different recovery programs you're involved with? Is there someone who comes along and gives you a series of ticks or crosses that says, hey, you've got to pick up your act here, or well done?
Certainly we have performance ratings in our employment contracts, so they come out periodically. We've been very fortunate to see some really positive gains. It was a really challenging year for the Cairns region, and in fact all of the regions where we deliver services, but we saw some really positive gains in the way we engaged with our clientele and supporting clients back into employment. We're more successful now than we were 12 months ago, almost pre-COVID, in helping people into employment every month.
Is that because you've learnt on the run, like so many other jurisdictions across Australia? COVID, when it first hit, really traumatised so many people, and we saw it at every level, at local council level, we saw it at state level, and of course we saw it federally, where everyone running around trying to make some sense of the challenges that were coming up. Has it improved immeasurably? Have you got a handle on what's going on and worked your way through it?
Absolutely. One of the things that COVID did was really force us to focus on what's important in the work that we do. So with all the changes to government regulations and requirements on people looking for work, what we found was those that wanted support really stepped up. They were front and centre, the first people when we were able to reopen doors, standing there waiting for support, the first people on the phones every morning. And so what it gave us was a real sense of what the community needed, what people were looking for, rather than it being about jumping through bureaucratic hoops or just ticking forms to get Centrelink payments. We found people were really thinking about what it was they wanted in employment sense, and we're able to really quickly support that.
Kieren Kearney is the CEO of Workways Australia. What's the biggest lesson you've learnt through this double whammy, and also through the year, this incredible year that we still can't believe has happened, 2020?
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is to really let people tell you what they need and what they want, and trust that they know what they're doing and give them the support to get to those goals.
Kieren, I really appreciate you joining us on The Informer and giving us a sense of what Workways Australia does. We trust that the funding remains as it should and allows you to deliver the important work that must be done in order to get those communities back up and running. Thank you very much for joining us, and all the very, very best for 21.
Thanks, George.
No worries. Kieren Kearney, man from Workways Australia.